This is NBC Nightly News, Wednesday, October 17th. Reported by John Chancellor.
Good evening. The Middle East war produced developments all over the world today. The oil-producing countries of the Arab world decided to use their oil as a political weapon. They will reduce oil production by 5% a month until the Israelis withdraw from occupied territories. If the Arab countries keep that pledge, it would reduce their production by almost 50% in 1 year. There were diplomatic maneuvers at the United Nations, in Washington, and in Cairo. And there is a savage and possibly decisive tank battle raging in the Sinai Desert.
In October of 1973, OPEC stopped exporting oil to the United States and other Western nations. Realizing the strong influence they had on the world through oil, OPEC chose to punish the U.S. for their continued armament of Israel.
This quadrupled the price of oil, causing the price of gasoline to rise from 25 cents to over $1. Then in 1979, protests of the Iranian Revolution severely disrupted the Iranian oil sector. This, coupled with President Jimmy Carter's ordering cessation of Iranian imports to the U.S., drove oil prices far above expectations.
That same year, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and Texas implemented gas rationing. These rations operated on an odd-even system, where if the last number of your license plates were odd, you could only buy gas on odd number days, and vice versa. After 1980, oil prices began a 20-year decline, down to a 60% drop in the 90s. The energy crisis of the 70s and early 80s illustrated a valuable lesson. The Middle East could affect the economies of the West through its strategic manipulation of natural resources.
Extortion of natural resources was seen again in 1991.
In retaliation for the coalition's continuous aerial bombardment, Saddam Hussein unleashed a new kind of destruction.
Iraqi military forces driven from Kuwait by coalition military forces set fire to 700 oil wells, causing what would be known as the Kuwait oil fires. The fires started in January and February, and the last one was not extinguished until November 1991. Approximately 6 million barrels of oil were lost each day. In total, $1.5 billion was spent to extinguish the fires. Oil from wells contaminated around 400 million tons of sand and earth and caused a dramatic decrease in air quality.
Choking black clouds filled the air, and day turned to night as the smoke blocked out the sun.
The 2003 U.S.-led invasion of Iraq caused renewed tensions over the prices of crude oil. Oil prices continued to rise, resulting from the destruction of Hurricane Katrina, an increase in gasoline consumption, tensions from North Korea's missile launch, and conflict between Israel and Lebanon.
보도 인공지구 위성 광명성 2호를 성과적으로 발사.
On June 6, 2008, oil prices rose $11 per barrel in less than 24 hours, the largest gain in history. The possibility of an Israeli attack on Iran caused the fear that two major oil suppliers would greatly reduce supply. This generated fears of a repeat of the 1973 oil crisis. As of May 2010, oil prices have began to decline.
Without getting into the substance of the talks, White House officials were anxious to give the impression that these meetings were significant because they demonstrate that President Nixon and Secretary of State Kissinger are talking with all parties in an effort to find peace in the Middle East. Clearly, the administration does not want to be tied just to the Israeli point of view. Tom Brokaw, NBC News, at the White House.